Welcome back. Uh, Part 3 is going to be all on assigning posses. Now that's one of the biggest challenges we have in large matches is getting everybody assigned to who they want to shoot with and those that don't want to shoot with somebody. So it's kind of important now. Years ago, we used to just have a big chalkboard, and we'd start writing names and everything else. Well, now with the scoring program, it makes it a little easier. One of the things that you want to do if you look at your assigned posses up here, and this shows who we got, registered. We got one. So let's go ahead and click on the main match posses. Now you'll notice all these names in here. Those are the names that you put into when you assign when you're registering a shooter, and you put who they want to shoot with, and you can also type in there who they don't want to shoot with. All these areas up here is you can sort by these. If we just click on those and they'll sort. When you sort by the posse request, you'll see this number. Now when you first assign, or say when you're first setting up a match and you clear the previous match, all these numbers are cleared, and it starts with the 4000 number. Now you'll notice that you can put, this is all variable. You can go ahead and change these, any numbers that you want here. How I normally do it, well, I'm going to show you another little trick when you're registering shooters. Let's go ahead and exit out of this, and let's go to register shooters. And I'm going to call up, let's see, am I in there? Yeah, okay, let's call up my name. Okay, say that, well, no, let's do it. No, I'm going to do this a different way. Let's register another shooter. Let's register a new shooter, somebody that's not there. Let's see if, oh, it doesn't matter. Let's pick Smoke. Okay, so Smoke is not registered. So let's register Smoke in the main match, and he's a frontiersman. We'll set him as frontiersman. We'll give him the main match. Now let's assign him somebody. Let's say he wants to shoot with Annie Hickok. Okay, now maybe we'll just say that that's his wife. Now when we register another shooter, and let's register Annie Hickok here. Now let's go over here. We can pick her up here, right here. And let's register Annie Hickok, and we'll just give her a cowgirl. And she is main match. Now, this little button right here, if we check that button, and let's put in, let's see, who did we have? What was the guy we put in here? Oh, well, it doesn't matter. Let's just put in, we'll just put in him. Okay, now with this button checked, I'm going to show you what happens on here. So we'll go back, and let's just go ahead and exit out of this. Now when we go into posse assigning, and let's see, she's probably, let's look at the shoot, we'll scroll by shooter number. That'll put him right at the end. Now you see where Smoke, and when Annie Hickok, when we check that little button, it gives them the same that same number. So say you have a family that comes in, you can register the first person, and then with the second person just check that little button. With the third person, check that little button, and all these numbers will be the same. Now the importance of that is when you're assigning posses, let's say, okay, so let's say, see, all these are put together. So shoots for Mo. So let's say that this Ranger Roger wants to shoot with Shoots for Mo. Now, how do we know that Shoots for Mo is in here someplace? Or Long Branch Katie. Now you'll notice that Long Branch Katie has a different number here. But say we go ahead and let's just, what I normally do, let's just put in this 4,000 number. Now I usually leave the original number in there. You notice that I can change anything in here if I want to. And she's going to shoot with her. And now let's see if shoots from OA. Now if we click into the alias, and if you hit the Control F on your machine, it brings up a search screen. So let's go ahead and put in shooters from, no, I guess, oh, wait a minute, shooters from Missouri. I bet you that's what that means. Okay. No, that's not what he wants. That's just say shooters from, and if we click, now also let's just go in and say we don't want to do the whole, we're just going to do any part of the field. Now if we click the next, it's searching through here. It's searching through these names. Now normally it's pretty quick, but it comes up and says it didn't find anybody. That's because this is saying he wants to be posseed with shooters from Missouri. Now what you can do is you can sort by state, and let's go down and see who we got from Missouri. Oh, that's right, I put everybody in Arizona. You know, okay, well, we'll think about something else on it. But let's go back and do, let's go to the next shooter here. And here's the, Choctaw Jim. So we can go ahead and make this Choctaw Jim. And he also wants to shoot with Bronco Red, which these two. And how about, well, let's see. Let's look for Tracky Jackie. So if we go back in here, well, here's Tracky Jackie right here, so I don't have to look very far. So what I would do is go in and change Tracky Jackie to 002. And then if we sort these, you'll see that now they fall together. This makes it a lot easier when you're assigning posses, because they're very easy. And here's another one. Here's right here. So if we change this one to 4002, by leaving that first, the original number there, you can always tell where they were in case you need to change somebody somewhere along the line. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 people here that all want to shoot together, and now they all have the same number. Now if we look at here, we can go ahead and do 05. And now he doesn't want to shoot with quick trigger and better half. So quick trigger is right here, and he doesn't want to, not with quick trigger, not, though these two do not want to shoot with quick trigger. So, and here's another one. Now he doesn't want to shoot with Ozark Captain. I don't know why, but if you put this information in correctly, then it'll be easy to, tell, okay, well, we're not going to change these. Now here's Missouri May and Flap Top Okie. They want to shoot together. Now even though their numbers are right next to each other, I still change them, because that way when I sort, they'll all fall in the same order. And this one wants to shoot with Flat Top, so let's make another one here. Okay. And I go through and do this all before I get into doing anything else. And with big matches, if you've got, I do end a trail, or I did end a trail until this year, you'll find that big matches, it takes a while to get all these hooked together, get them all correctly. You can sort, like I showed you, you can do searches. So, okay, here's somebody that wants to shoot with Bronco Red. So let's just do that search again. Let's do it. Click into the alias. We'll do a Control F. And now we're going to do, he wanted to do Bronco Red. Okay. Now, I got my fingers on the wrong key here. You don't have to key in the whole name as long as you're looking for any part of that. Now if we go find next, now there's Bronco Red, see right here. So what we can do then, we know that Bronco Red is 4002, so if we just cancel this, we can change this to 4002. And if we sort it again, they'll be all together. So we're building a posse right here with those people that want to shoot together. Now, if you want to see who else wants to shoot, you can do the same search thing by clicking into the posse request and do the Control F, and Bronco comes up again. Now you'll see that well, here's another one that wants to shoot with Bronco Red. So we know that that number was 4002. We can find next, and here's 4002. Those are all together. And so, okay, so we've gone through and searched those, and we've got them. Now, that's everybody that wanted to shoot with Bronco Red. Now we can also do the same thing with Tacky Jackie by doing the Control F. And let's see, T-A-C-K-Y, J-A-C-K. We'll just look for that. There's Tacky Jackie, Tacky Jackie, Tacky Jackie. Now, Tacky Jackie, Tacky Jackie. But they're all. So we have all the time. So you can go through your whole system and do that. It's easier to use the Control, excuse me, Control F, because that way you can search the whole file very quickly and find out where it's, who's going, who wants to shoot with who, and see if they're even registered. And like I said, just go down Ozark Annie. Didn't I see Ozark Annie someplace? So once you're doing that, you can go ahead and this could take a little while, and what I think I'll do is pause this and go ahead and work up these posses, and then we'll go through and do that. So I'll be right back. Okay, so we've gone through and I've done a few of these, worked up a few. Now if we come back here, we can go ahead and start assigning some posses. So we're just going to start with, and if you have people that request, if you're doing different shifts, you can do that. So let's just do that, and we're just going to go through and kind of put these people where, in posses that we have assigned out. And then let's leave some of these blank that don't have anybody, and we'll put all these into 3. And it's going to depend a lot on how many people you have, how many posses you're going to want, and things like that. So we can go ahead and 2 and 2, put those in 2, and 3, or let's put these in 1. We'll fill up 1 a little more. Now a lot of times what I do is I have a little program that let me bring that up for you. It's going to take me a second to find that, so let's just see here. Well, let's see, what do we got here? Okay, here, okay, what I do is I've got a little worksheet that I set up. It's just an Excel spreadsheet, and I will put, like, I've got all the posses. Say, at End of Trail we would do 36 posses, and I go through and I get the posse marshals and things like that. So what I do with this, and I'm going to move this over, what I will do, I go through and I can refresh the posse assignment, and that will bring up, okay, here's all the people in the posses, and these are those that do not have posses assigned. And so what I'll do is I'll have my sheet over here, and I'll go, okay, posse 1, I have 7 people in it. And next, and then I can bring it back up. And posse 2, I have 8. And posse 3, I'll bring this back up. And posse 3, I have 10. So as I go through with my posses, let me move this out of the way. I will go through and keep track. That way I know how many I have in each posse, and as I assign them, I look at this sheet. And I have 2 screens on my computer, so it basically, I have the little worksheet on one screen and go over on my other, and it makes it easy. I can go through and see, okay, how many people do I have in this posse? I can add so many more. I can do this with this group. I can do that with that group. It says that we have 152 shooters, which we look right here. So a lot of times you'll take, say that's the final count, and you'll go, okay, I've got 152 shooters. How many people do we want on a posse? So if you have, how many stages do you have, and how are you going to shoot? Those are a lot of the questions you have to ask yourself. So if I have 10 posses, that's going to be 15 people on a posse. Now that's not a bad size posse. You know, 15 people, it gets people working, it can move. That's if you have enough bays to do that. If you, if you've got 10, and how you're going to split them out. If you've got 20 bays sitting out there, and you can put like posse 1, posse 3, posse 5, and so forth. That way you leave, like bay 1, bay 3, bay 5, bay 7, bay 9, and bay 11 or something like that. You can go through and leave a blank posse or stage in between each one. It depends on how many you want to have on a posse and what your schedules are. If you're shooting 2 days, if you're going to shoot a morning and an afternoon flight, then it takes a lot of planning on setting up a large match. One of the other things that we can do, say that we were going to do that, let's go ahead and leave a posse in between. Now I noticed I sorted by that, so this is going to drop down here. So say I go ahead and make these 5. So I'm going to do 1, 3, 5, okay? And then we can go and add some more. We can do 7. Let's go ahead and sort them by this number. And we'll come down here and we'll put here's 7. Must have hit. Oh. No. Okay, those 2 and 7. We'll put these 2 and 7 also. And here we'll drop these down. We'll put these in 7. And okay, let's go down. Now here's 61. There's a group. We'll put those in 9. If you put the posse numbers the same as the bays for the first, it makes it easy for the posse to know where they start. 1 starts on 1, 3 starts on 3, 4 starts on 4, and so forth. So we're going to continue to kick these in. And we'll kick in a few more here. Here's a big group right here, so we'll do 11. Okay, say that you've gone through and you've got most of your posses filled out. Put these on 9, 9, 9, 9. Okay. and maybe you're pretty well set on who you have set up and who's going where and so and all that. Now you're going to have all these oddball ones right in through here. Now you can go through and look at your little spreadsheet that you created with it that has the number of people in and say, okay, well, Posse 1 needs a couple more, so you can do this and this. The other thing you can do is let the computer assign posses. Now, this will, if you do this to start with, the computer cannot go through and find those that they want to shoot with. I've tried programming that. It's just too hard. I haven't been able to figure out a way to do it because you got those that not want to shoot with. Depends on, you know, I don't want to shoot with this person. I don't want to shoot with that person. You have, you know, this person says I don't want to, you know, one person wants to shoot with so and so. The other person doesn't want to shoot with them. So it makes it a real hard. But once you've gone through and did your numbering scheme and you've got the people where you want them and you've set it up, now you can go through and let the computer fill in. Now if you do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to do a backup right now of everything that I have. And the reason I'm going to do that is I want to make sure that I have a backup in case I don't, you know, if something happens and I don't like the way the computer assigned them. Are 3. I'm just going to put number 1. So that means the first one in part 3. So what I'm going to do is do the backup. Now that way, if I don't like the way the posses got assigned by letting the computer do it, I can always restore back to where I was right now and do it manually. So it just kind of, okay, the backup is complete and it's going to send that to me because I have that in the setup. So now we can go in and say, okay, I'm going to do the main match. And I'm going to let the computer assign. Now it says there are 152 shooters, not counting, and there's no shoot-throughs. How many posses do you want? So if we say, let's say 9 posses, and it'll say, okay, we're going to have 9 posses. Now, what it has gone through and did is it has gone through and assigned all those blank people onto posses. So, if we look at the posse assigning sheet, preview the posse report, we can see that there's 17 on a posse. There's 17 on this posse, 16 on this one, 17. Now, there's only 14 here, 17. 17, 17, 12, 17, and 8. So it's kind of gone through and it's filled in posses, mixed them up. So now what we need to do is we can go back and say, okay, let's go back. I've got 17 people on this posse. Now I can probably, and I need to put some people on maybe this posse, on posse 4. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll say, okay, I can take one person off of 1. So let's go through and see who we got here. Here's a person on 1 that didn't request anybody, so I can put him on 4. That's going to bring 1 down to 16 if we refresh the posses. So 1 is at 16 now. 2 is at 16, 3 is at 17, and 4 is probably at 15. So I can take 1 off of 3 and put it on 4 also. So let's see what we're going to do here. So we'll scroll down. Here's a 3 that didn't request anybody, so we'll just move them to 4. Okay, refresh the posses. So at this point, you kind of can go through now and figure out, okay, we got 16, 16, 16, 17 on 5, 17 on 6, 17 on 7, 12. Now, 5, 6, and 7 got 17, so we can put some on 12. So 5, 6, and 7 we want to put on posse 8. So let's see, 5, okay. Okay, so he wants to shoot with 5, 6. So we're going to take Stone Cahill. Say that this guy will put him on 8. And 6, we can take this guy and put him on 8. And put this guy on 8. Okay, so if we refresh the posses again, let's see what we're doing here. So we can go through and do 16, 16, 16, 16, 17, 16, 16, 14, and 17, and 8. So 9, we need to get some posse people on 11, so we're going to grab a couple off of 9 and 2 off of 9 and put them on 11, 2 off of 9 and put them on 11. So we'll take this guy and put him on 11, and we'll just take, we'll just say that, you know, it's kind of, and if we refresh the posses, so, you know, as you go through and do this, so we need a couple more on 8. And maybe we should take some more off 1 and split those up, get those posses down a little bit. So if we take, put this person on 11, that brings that down to 15. And let's see what we got here. Let's back up. Oh. Okay, so let's see where we're at here. We got, let's take a 1 off of 2 and put him on 11. Alright, so let's see by refreshing where we're sitting now. Now, you could end up just switching over. You know, we got 17 on 6. Actually, we got 17 on, what was that, 5? 17 on 5. Okay, so let's take a couple off of 5 and put them on 11. Okay, so we need 1 more on 8. 1 more on 8. Now normally this would have worked out differently, but because I already had marked up some of the posses, it took it, you know, if with 9 we probably didn't need all the posses that it showed up. So we're gonna, let's see here, what do we got? So we've got 6 and 7. So we can take 6 to 11 and 7 to 11. Okay, let's see what we're doing here. I'm just kind of going through this real quick. 16, 15, 14. Okay, 11, we're going to take 1 off of 11 and put it on 8. So we'll just grab that, put him on 8. Anyway, that's kind of where, you know, way of going through this. And So that's pretty evened out what we're at. And if you take, if we look at these, you can see we've got them pretty well evened out. There's 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, 16, 16, 15, and 15. So we got 2 posses with more on. So it kind of fills in those posses with what you have and so forth. So at this point, you basically have your posses assigned. Now there's a couple things that you might want to do. I've done it, and people sometimes think it's okay. Say that you wanted to send out, you can attach these posse assignments. So if you go through and do a posse report, main match. Okay, at this point it's going to allow you to create a PDF. So we're going to say yes to that. And it says that it's located in C Cowboy Extract directory. Now, if you wanted to, what you could do is take that, we'll go and bring up our, just Explorer. No, it brought it up on the other screen. I'm waiting for it to come up. And say we go into, well, let's go to our C drive. There's our C drive. We want to find Cowboy Extracts, which is right here. Okay, here's the PDF for that. So let's take this and copy it into our attachments directory. Now, we want to get rid of this one because remember when we talked about in part 2, everything in the attachments directory will be attached to your email. Now, if you wanted to send out other things, something else beside this, you could, or you could now just go into your special email. We don't need to do this because that's we can go right into step 2, and here you would put down, you could maybe say, that you will find the posse assignments. We make changes if you are split from your family members and so forth, just whatever, so if you can, or if you're sharing a gun cart, or just, give them some of the reasons for it. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to send it to the current match shooters, all right? So what'll happen is this will go through and pop, 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 and it'll attach that to there and send it to just the current match shooters. This way they will know what posse they're on and be able to be ready to go. And if say you mess somebody up and you have a husband and wife split up, they will probably email you and say, you've got my wife on this posse and I'm on this posse, and you can get those straightened up before the match. A lot of people will, that's why you're telling them in here that you will only make changes if you're, split up from the family members or something. You want to make sure they understand that. If someone comes back and says, well, I don't want to shoot with this guy and so forth and so on, you can make a decision at that point. But that's kind of where you go with this. And then at this point, you would just go ahead and say send email. But once again, remember, when you're doing this, you have to have Outlook as one of your providers. Okay. Now, the other thing that once you're done with this, you can go ahead and print your stage scorecards. Now, I'm not going to print, those do not show up on the screen first. They go directly to the printer. But one of the things you can do, if say that you have your posses or your stages have names like the stagecoach stage, the bar stage, you can actually give them names. If you go into your match setup, you'll see that there's an option over here that says add stage names. If you click that, this will come up. And now you have, I'm just going to leave these here, but here's some stage names that are there. Okay, you got Train Depot, and so forth, Fort Red Castle, and all these different names. These will now show up on the score sheet. They will be up at the top of the score sheet showing that, hey, stage 1 is this. So if when you're telling people that they're you start on the Train Depot, or you could say Train Depot or Posse 1, it just depends. But that's one of the ways that you can go in and do that. Okay, I'm not sure, but let's okay, let's see, is there anything else in Posse assigning that we need to look at? Remember also on your score sheets, any titles that you have added to shooters will show up on the score sheet. So if you have the Posse Marshal next to it, it'll come up and tell you that, it'll show on the score sheet that who is the Posse Marshal and the deputy and who is the range masters and so forth. So it'll give them a opportunity to, if you need to find out, if you have a question, or if someone comes up and says who's the Posse Marshal, they can just look and right at the score sheet and say, okay, it's so and so, so and so. Okay, I think that should about do it for that. Now, one of the things we can do, I'm going to go ahead, let's just go ahead and call this good for today. This is got a little over 30 minutes. And the next part will be on actually scoring. There's a couple different ways you can score, and I'll go through those with you in part 4. Okay, well, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.